Take a seat. We'll get started. Thank you. We'll just take a minute before the meeting starts and bow our heads. Amen. I don't know about you, but that's probably about the quietest I've had in the last 2 weeks. With all the family in and friends, and it's always good to see everybody come to Montreat, though. And I believe we had more people at the parade this year than I've seen in a long time. Usually when I round the corner at Assembly Drive and start up the hill toward the lake, there's a scattering of people. Around the lake, there's usually a pretty good crowd. But that crowd went all the way around to Kentucky Road. It's more people than I've seen in a long time. Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the public forum agenda, please? I have a motion from Kitty Fouché, Mayor Pro Tem Fouché. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alexander. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The floor is now open for public comment.
Mayor, can I just quickly remind everyone to turn their mics on?
Thank you. How are you, Patty?
Good. Hey, everybody. Patty Pyle, 334 Chapman Road, and I'm here as the chair of our Flat Creek Crossing Steering Committee that's part of Land Care. But I want to start by thanking the council so much, because from the very first time that we stood in front of you and asked for permission to just start exploring the idea of building an accessible trail in Montreat, you all have supported us, and it's meant so much. You supported us unanimously and with some careful enthusiasm, and we would not have gotten as far with this project without your help, so we're very, very grateful. And I also want to thank very specifically town staff, Barry Kriesman, Savannah Parrish, Angie Murphy, Rachel Eddings. These folks have shared their time and their attention and their expertise with us all along the way. And we're just so grateful. We want you all to know that you are very important to us and important to our project. So we appreciate this sort of unique collaboration that Land Care shares with the town. But tonight I'm here to actually talk about the status of our $614,000 Helene Recovery Grant Award that we received from the State Division of Parks and Recreation back on March 27th. We're aware that certain things have really changed since we were given the green light back in January to apply for that money. There are budget constraints, and there's a long list of projects that await reparation, and we understand that fully. In fact, it was the town's damage inventory that listed the 68 projects that became part of our grant application and part of why the state gave us some special consideration. They call it prioritization. So we were given consideration above some other municipalities that were applying for the same money. So the new project that grant addresses actually is like a miniature version of a damage inventory, because it talks about 4 specific areas. And I just want to remind you all what they are really briefly. First, to stabilize and restore the banks of Flat Creek upstream from our trail site, about 75 feet towards Memorial Garden, across Flat Creek, and about 150 feet downstream. I might have said yards earlier, I meant to say feet. Anyway, 150 feet downstream to the border of the town maintenance compound. So this reparation work, this is very complicated because of how serious the undercutting and the erosion was from the flooding, and also made difficult because of the steepness of the bank by the maintenance compound and the lack of lateral distance that we have to work with there. So this work is expensive. When it's completed, it will look similarly to what we see along Assembly Drive, where that work was completed. Secondly, it would cover installation of fencing all around the maintenance compound, including locking gates, and this to secure the valuable town maintenance equipment and materials that are stored there. And third, it includes restoration of the riparian buffer zone. So that's that area alongside the water where the land meets the water. And of course, Helene completely scoured that area. The trees are gone, vegetation is gone, and it's important that the replanting happen so that Flat Creek can maintain its high water quality, and also so the temperature of the water can be regulated such that the native aquatic life can flourish there. That's another reason why we won this grant, because environmental recovery was one of their big selection criteria. Fourth, it's the engineering that's necessary in order to build a new bridge, a new footbridge across the creek from Memorial Garden. And this engineering is very specialized because it has to be a low impact design. We're talking about a very environmentally sensitive area, and there's some permits that have to be pursued. So it is also some pretty complex work. And it's not only a design that needs to address accessibility, full accessibility, but also planning ahead for future high water events. So Helene changed so much, but it did not change our team's commitment and our confidence in our ability to raise the money that we need to meet the matching funds. We have a very strong donor base. We have over 266 people that we refer to as Friends of Flat Creek Crossing. We have a great track record. We already actually have about 20% of the needed funds that have been pledged, and we haven't even started a campaign yet. We have 3 years to complete this, and we've been given assurances that even extensions to that 3-year window can be obtained. And so your endorsement and accepting this new grant not only gives us credibility, but gives us leverage to go after additional grant funding. And we're good at it, and we consider ourselves the ones that are primarily responsible for it. We made a presentation at the last town council meeting, but there was not, it was just impossible to have a full and complete discussion. So we just are encouraging council to take the time that you need to carefully review all the details of the grant, to evaluate the need for the new bridge, to maybe even walk around with Barry and see what the situation is on the steep bank by the maintenance compound, and what value that new fence would provide. It would be an exaggeration for me to say we can't complete our Flat Creek Crossing without this new grant. But what's involved is the fact that the sites I just described are contiguous with the Flat Creek Crossing site. And it's not just the geography of it, it's the function of that area. And the fact that Flat Creek really creates this environmental system where every single facet of it is interrelated and interdependent. And so by using this Helene recovery money to do the work that I just referred to, we're going to be able to be sure that Flat Creek Crossing will be stable and secure for so many years to come. So we invite your questions. We would love to have you reach out to us and just tell us your concerns. Anything we can do. We have our expert designer. We have our chair of our fundraising subcommittee available. Any of us, we would just appreciate the opportunity. If you need more information, to let us help you with that. And we look forward to your decision. Thanks.
Anyone else? Floor is open. Yes, ma'am.
Letta Jean Taylor, 386 Oklahoma Road. Some of the things that Patty said I want to echo. I think this is a really needed project for the town. Some of us who used to play in the creeks when we were younger can't get there anymore. And this is a really great way for us to get down to the creek and enjoy it. But one of the things that you may not know, the original bridge that was there was meant to swing away when the water got too high, but they didn't plan for Helene. so it's not there anymore. But the bridge was supposed to go across Flat Creek to a demonstration garden where we planted things that were native to this area so people could come and visit the area and see what they might want to add to their property. So that was the original vision a long time ago. This group has been great in raising money, $400,000 already for the project. So I think they have, as Patty said, they have a great donor base. They have a great opportunity to get the money. But I don't think it's a big risk for the town. Years ago, when we had the grant for the Texas Road Bridge, when it was going to be vehicular, we had a grant for that. And when you decided not to do that, the money was sent back to the state. So I don't see what you have to lose by signing this document, because if they don't get the money, then you just send the grant back like we did for Texas Road. So thank you.
Mr. Burns?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Wade Burns, 779 Foreman Siding Road, ETJ, Montreat, when we're here. Tuesday, I got an email that the appellate court will be reviewing the case of our neighbor against the town of Montreat. Didn't mention our name in the email, but we're the ones that responded to the lawsuit. And so we had applied for conditional zoning, and then there was the confusion about the driveway. And so we withdrew the application to reapply. Tuesday, when the court meets, there will not be any witnesses there, no lawyers there, and it'll be some months before they issue a ruling. Meanwhile, we feel like we should go ahead and reapply for conditional zoning. When we did this, I've been preparing site plans and putting my stamp on them for over 50 years. And so I think we'd met all of the requirements to submit something. The issue of the driveway being gravel, labeled as gravel on the site plan, but then eventually a section of it permitted and paved, caused some confusion. But what we have to rely on as architects or planners is what's the language of the ordinance. And so a driveway and parking and any other impervious surfaces and the buildings built all have to be dimensioned, height, setbacks, and so forth. But in the zoning ordinance, we go by definitions. There is no difference between a gravel driveway, a concrete driveway, or an asphalt driveway, because what the zoning is about is impervious. And so we have to address that impervious. And so we did, and we met the requirements of the ordinance, and then we ran into the conflict with the neighbor. So when the issue was raised that we had changed from gravel to paved, there was an inference that we'd done something wrong. And I just want to make it clear, we had permitted that change in April. I've been talking with Barry Creasman monthly, trying to find somebody that could pave it. There were concerns, was it too cold to pave it? It could have been, but it wasn't, because the asphalt was successfully placed. But in the zoning, if we get a conditional zoning, it will be, my understanding of my 50 years, it'll be that the setbacks will be set, the driveway, the patio, or anything else you have, those things will all be set and they'll be dimensioned. But you do not give up the rights to continue to use and perhaps improve the property. I'll give you a specific example. I got the impression in some of the council conversations that the exhibit we submitted for conditional zoning is it. And everything that we do, that locks down. And that's not my understanding of 50 years of zoning. If we wanted to, or somebody bought the house, wanted to add an elevator because it's 3 stories from where you park, it sounded like wouldn't be able to because the conditional zoning locked in on that plan. But zoning laws, as I understand it, is if we were applying for an elevator shaft, as long as it met the setbacks from septic, the setbacks from the building setbacks, height, and so forth, and didn't create a stormwater problem, that we could do such a thing. So I don't want there to be a misunderstanding of something as we try to put together this application. I would plead with you to meet with me so we can make sure that we're doing the right thing, because I think we're on your side because you're sued and we're defending you. And so it's obviously we need to win, or we lose part of the house or whatever else we might lose. But I think it's important for you to win because y'all try to do the right thing, and I think you did the right thing when we got our zoning. So I just welcome some conversation as we put this together so we're not don't get blindsided by anything. Thank you.
Thanks, Wade. I hope your new application is a lot more specific than the last one. It was a rather hodgepodge thing, and I suggest that you work with your attorney and have him work with our staff and so forth to make sure that it's something we can work with this time. Who's next? Mr. Nichols?
Eric Nichols, 527 Suwannee Drive, Still. This will be very short. I would greatly appreciate if we could have some discussion in the next week or two with the Finance Committee for the town to discuss some possible ways to deal with the elephant in the room with regard to the liability, let's call it, of the town in the event the Flat Creek Crossing team doesn't get the job done in terms of raising the money over the 36 months. I would remind you also, we have been really good at raising money, and we are not stopping. We got a $10,000 donation today, and we're hard at work. We will raise a lot of money in as fast a period of time as we can. Prior to Helene, we had $255,000 that we raised from North Carolina Parks and Rec, the same folks that are administering the Helene Recovery Fund. They like us, we like them, we'd like to keep liking them, we'd like them to keep liking us, the town. And we also had $34,000, and $134,000 has been received from individuals and a few churches and organizations. Our grant writing has been superb. Our record is we've had one that we lost because the Buncombe County Tourism Group came out about a week before Helene hit, and we were far down the trail. That's a good thought. Far down the trail with the tourism group in terms of an additional grant, which of course has not been. I don't think it's been discussed, but Helene came along and they took back anything that had been proposals that had been given to them by us and others, and they knew that they were going to have to shore up some of the because of Helene, shore up some of the projects that were already ongoing, and that's what dried up those funds. But we've had a really enviable track record. Trust us. Thank you. Any questions?
None, Eric. Thanks.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Savannah, how about getting with Kitty and Jane and a couple of people from that and see if we can sit down and talk and come back to the commissioners. I don't know if it's going to be August or September or whatever with a proposal and an understanding of where we can go. Does that work with you, Kitty?
Yep.
Okay.
It may be a good idea to use the finance committee.
Well, you may want to get a person off of the finance committee to talk about that. I'd rather, before we do that, I'd really rather just Savannah and you all meet, and then if we have to involve them. Go ahead, Savannah.
We can do that, and we'll have Rachel in those conversations as well, she understands more about the encumbrance and the legal side of things, the statute side of things. So we'll grab her and we'll all sit down.
It's a tough time for the town, as most people know, and it's difficult to say what we can and can't do at this point with, Lord, the state won't even give us finally we'll get a budget, next week sometime, hopefully. I mean, it's just, we don't even have a town budget yet for the coming year because of the state. But we'll talk and see what we can come up with and get a good solid understanding if that suits. Anyone else? Mary?
Mary Standard, 118 Shenandoah Terrace, and I don't envy you in your positions. You've got a lot on your mind and lot of things to consider. And just with respect to the Flat Creek crossing issues, as you discuss it among yourselves and in public, so that you come to transparent understanding of what's going on. In addition to the original intent of making it accessible to all persons, what questions would you ask about how can the town as a community, as a whole, benefit from that? And where does the bridge come in that? One of the disadvantages of not having a bridge there is there's no way for hikers, and that's a heavily used path along through there to cross the creek, which means they have to go through the maintenance yards. And that's a risk to the town for a number of reasons. And so just to be able to have a way to cross the creek to limit that walking through the maintenance area is a huge benefit to the town. So just consider those things of what would you have to do anyway, or want to do if you could afford everything, and you can't afford everything. But is this a cost-effective way to maintain the town's property and the safety of the individuals, both within the community and from those who come from the outside, which are a lot of people who hike that trail. But anyway, thank you for your work.
Thanks, Mary. Anyone else? No one?
I can give a budget, I can do a brief legislative update if that would be helpful.
It's frustrating, but it's helpful.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'll get into that really quickly. So on June 29th, the Town Council approved the fiscal year 26-27 budget. I believe it was the next day, the North Carolina General Assembly adopted Senate Bill 474, which changes how some local governments will calculate property taxes for the upcoming year. As a result, Buncombe County is expected to continue using 2021 property values rather than the recently completed property revaluation, although their board has not yet acted. The county commissioners will meet on July 14th to officially determine which property values will be used this fiscal year. Because the town will likely be calculating its tax rate using older, lower property values, the town's tax rate will need to increase from the rate adopted in the fiscal year 26-27 budget. This increase is necessary to generate the same amount of revenue that was originally budgeted budgeted using the higher revaluation values. It does not mean the town is increasing taxes beyond what was planned in the adopted budget. After the county acts, the town of Montreat will also hold a special meeting to amend its budget and adopt a revised tax rate so that the county can prepare accurate property tax bills. We are tentatively scheduled to hold that meeting on July 17th at 10 a.m. And I know that these legislative changes are not fun and confusing, so thanks for your patience. I'm getting updates on this on the daily, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions you might have about it. I try to maintain an open door policy, so feel free to drop by, give me a call, or email me.
Thank you, Savannah. Does anyone else in the audience have anything tonight? If not, I'll entertain a motion from the commissioners to adjourn until 6 o'clock, at which time we'll start our regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Commissioner Blake. Have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alexander. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned until 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Yeah, and get him on there. Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay.
Good. How have you been?
That's okay. Do you need a new agenda? Okay. Okay. I'll just give all this to Angie. She can sort it. We'll kick the can a little bit. All right. It's time. Whenever you're ready.
Folks, it's 6 o'clock. If we would please stand and face the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance together. Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll just bow our heads a moment of silence before we begin the meeting. Amen. Call the meeting to order. And commissioners, you have seen the agenda and had it presented to you and had a chance to look at it. We have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Motion from Commissioner Alexander. Do we have a second?
Second?
Have a second. Commissioner Blake. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted. It's just good to have everybody here. You know, it's nice and, yeah. it's just nice to finally hear all the kids playing in the creek and up and down and all over Moore Center and just all over campus. It's just, and it's nice to be able to stop now at a crosswalk and see people walking across. For us winter folks, you stop at the crosswalk and you may wait a day or two before somebody crosses. We're just a booming community right now, and just everyone please pay attention to all the pedestrians, young and old. And our police department probably needs to look at what's going up and down the asphalt sidewalk. I've seen some scooters on there, and old people just don't move out of the way of scooters very well. And skateboards, I know, are not allowed in Montreat, but I still see them. Anyway, Savannah, would you cover the consent agenda, please, ma'am?
I will do it. So on the consent agenda tonight, we have the June 11th, 2026 public forum meeting minutes, the regular meeting minutes of the same, and the June 29th, 2026 special meeting minutes. And I have a couple of very quick announcements or updates. First of all, bulk pickup was successful. Thanks everyone for your patience. It did take the team, I think, 2 full days to gather everything. So it was a very heavy year on bulk pickup. And then I'm also excited to let you all know that we have a new member of our Public Works Department. His name is Hunter. If you see him around, please welcome him. He's been helping part-time for several weeks, and he's doing a wonderful job. So we're very excited to welcome him to the Public Works team full-time. If you are interested in running for office, candidate filing closes on July 17th. So check out the county's website. I believe that's buncombecounty.org/election services if you're interested in learning more about that. A reminder to keep your trash secured, please. We're having a lot of instance of trash not being properly secured. It's in the bin, but the bin's not latched. We will be fining people for failure to properly secure their trash, and that includes if it was a renter. So make sure that your renters are up on all of the regulations for trash. If you have a stormwater control measure on your private property, you will be receiving a letter from us. Those went out in the mail yesterday, and we are picking back up with inspections on those. It's a very simple process, but if you have any questions, reach out to us. And then last thing is the Cottagers annual meeting on Saturday, July 18th, 10 a.m., Upper Anderson.
We'll be there. Commissioners, do you have any reports on any of the staff department reports? Anybody have any questions or comments on any of those? Hearing none, floor is open for public comment.
Less than a minute. Eric Nichols, 527 Suwannee Drive. It's great when all that energy comes in. It's also good when it leaves.
Tanner Pickett on behalf of Montreat Conference Center. Yeah, we are about halfway through all that energy, and we are feeling it, and we are grateful for the town and the citizens, and it's always fun. We are talking to our conferees when they come through about walking down the middle of the road, know when they're in the road, and all that type of stuff. Also want to say thanks for all the cooperation with the 4th of July parade. It went great, and we couldn't do it without the cooperation of the town, particularly Public Works and the police. So just want to say thanks.
Thanks, Tanner. Anyone else? Public comment? Seeing no one, move. Okay. Have no old business, have lots of new business. Review of and discussion of the residential waste and recycled material collection and disposal proposal. Savannah?
Yes, so we have discussed using CWS as a contractor for sanitation services in this fiscal year. We do have Morgan Alexander, who is Vice President of Consolidated Waste Services, here with us this evening, so if you have any questions, she'll be able to address that. They were kind enough to update their proposal. I think you all have had a chance to look at that. And I just want to clarify that if you approve us moving forward, we're still not in an official contract. That will come later. But this would just be to move us forward to authorize me, and then if you want to select someone from council to be involved in that, and maybe the town attorney as well, to begin working on a contract with Consolidated Waste Services. But really, after Barry and I and our discussions with CWS, I think our mutual goal is to provide a high level of service and to work together very closely. I want to reassure everyone that any issue that comes up, if your trash got missed, or you want to be added to the backdoor pickup list, anything like that would still be handled here in Town Hall. You don't have to call another office. You don't have to speak to anyone you don't know. You can still talk to Angie or myself about those types of issues. So we expect this to be a very collaborative effort between Consolidated Waste and ourselves. But I'm happy to answer any questions, and like I mentioned, Morgan is here as well.
Commissioners, any questions of Savannah? Any questions of Barry? I see him standing back there.
Morgan's here. And Morgan.
Morgan?
I'm here as well. You come up to the mic, I'm more than happy to.
Okay. Come on up.
Okay.
Commissioners, y'all have any questions of Morgan?
Morgan, has anybody on your team actually ridden around with our guys to see what all you're getting into?
Yes, ma'am, I have. With Barry.
Okay.
Yes, we have driven all the roads. Barry has showed me roads that kind of are steep or whatever it may be. But, I think of Town of Montreat very much like I call these boutique townships. And it's no different than what we do in Lake Junaluska. In the summer months, it's very busy, of course, with the conferences. They have the bear-proof trash cans, small roads, backdoor service, things like that. So this would be nothing new for Consolidated Waste Services. And we've also had long discussions with Barry and Savannah, as well as Drew, going over if we were to start the service with you guys, Barry and Drew helping our team to make sure we get everything picked up and make sure it's a smooth transition.
And do you put it in straight into your compactor truck, or do you have to transfer it like our guys do?
It will go straight into like our compactor truck, yes. It's a very small residential truck, so it's made for, it's the same truck that we use in Maggie Valley, Lake Junaluska. It's very small. I mean, there are some roads that we have to back up, and there's roads here that there's no place to turn around a truck of that size. So we back up those roads, but.
And you have a separate truck for recycle?
Yes, so more than likely with the amount of homes that are here, we would either do the trash or recycle first, and then come back and do the next round of either the trash or recycle, whichever we decided to do first.
And do you take it to Kirby?
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions? Commissioners, anybody?
I have a number of items, but they're technical contract items, and I've communicated with Savannah, and maybe we'll be involved a little bit in the contract to make sure that it's all addressed, but there's no reason to bring it up today.
Any other questions of Morgan? Of Savannah? Of Barry? Okay, Morgan, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Commissioners, you have an opportunity to make a motion to enter into negotiations or contracts, authorizing Savannah and our attorney and so forth to.
I move to authorize the town manager to enter into contract with CWS for residential waste, recycling collection, and disposal services.
Just a clarification, that was contract negotiations, not enter into a contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Commissioner Blake. Further discussion or questions?
You said contract negotiations, but this says contract.
Yeah, but, yeah.
negotiation. Well, the motion will be recorded in the minutes as contract negotiations.
Okay.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Next item on the agenda is the discussion of the zoning administrator project manager position. Savannah?
Yes, this is something that we've discussed several times over my tenure here about the expansion of our zoning administrator role to make it a full-time position. And I think after the many transitions we've had over the last year, that it's time to make that move. Planners are professionals in high demand in this area. They have a lot of job options, and we're just not going to find somebody who's willing to do this work part-time at the level that we expect. Shelley was wonderful, but she left for a full-time job, and it's just not feasible to continue with Land of Sky Regional Council in this capacity long-term. So the financial impact. Right now, if we continue in the Land of Sky contract for 24 hours a week for 1 year, we will pay $87,972 to Land of Sky for that contract. If we were to hire a full-time zoning administrator and code enforcement officer / project manager with benefits, I think that we would come in around $87,000. So roughly the same, but a full-time role and some help with project management and code enforcement, both of which could use a little bit of shoring up. So that's my proposal to you all, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Savannah, at one time we also mentioned, and maybe I missed it in the conversation, a grant writing.
I think that some grant writing would kind of naturally fall in with these other duties that are listed in the job description.
Okay. Any?
And what about inspector, any chance?
I think the chances of finding somebody that has a level 3 building inspections license, which is what we would need, and a CZO is probably impossible. Have you ever heard of somebody with both? I haven't either. It would be lovely, but I just don't think I don't think that that's something that we would be able to find.
Just in terms of economic impact, I truly having a full-time person here who's dedicated to the town of Montreat and not a rent-a planning director. And a rent-a planning director, I'll say this without saying about any particular incident, they have cost the town of Montreat a substantial amount of money in unnecessary litigation because, for whatever reason, it just seems to follow them. I think having somebody full-time, the real impact, as far as I'm concerned, a lot of this revolving door of people not committed to the town of Montreat is we don't get people that are careful enough to do a job that can result in litigation very carefully.
I agree with you, and I think even if we were to hire a mid-career professional, those folks are probably only staying a year or two realistically, but even that is long enough and enough dedication that we get some forward momentum on our long-term goals, which are to get some of these ordinances that the subcommittees have been working on, get those finally cleared and in place, but then also it's just the weight of responsibility that this is my full-time place of employment and your level of dedication is much higher, I think, in those circumstances.
I've seen several zoning things litigated that have involved at least 3 different names of zoning administrators. They've gone on that long, or maybe that short, because we've had 2 and 3 in short periods of time. Any other commissioner? Do I have a motion?
I move approval of hiring a full-time zoning administrator with additional duties as outlined.
I have a motion from Commissioner Blake. Do we have a second?
A second.
I have a second from Commissioner Grant. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carry. Item C, a memorandum of agreement and resolution for disaster recovery services. Savannah.
These are services that the North Carolina League of Municipalities is offering to towns impacted by Tropical Storm Helene for free. So this would allow us to work with the League of Municipalities, specifically to work with Parker Poe, which is a law firm, to help us with several items related to specifically to disaster recovery. The most important of which, in my mind, would be our stormwater ordinance. I've spoken to Brandon. He doesn't have any heartburn about surrendering the stormwater ordinance to Parker Poe. And we just, really what we want to do is just take advantage of this free service that they're offering. Those ordinance rewrites get very expensive, and if we have the opportunity to do it, I think that we should. And they would be working closely with staff, and then ultimately, everything would be reviewed by our own town attorney before it's moved to council for approval.
Thank you, Savannah. Questions of Savannah? Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the memorandum of agreement and resolution between the town of Montreat and the North Carolina League of Municipalities for disaster recovery services.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alexander. Motion was made by Mayor Pro Tem Fouché. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Item D is discussion of the Buncombe-Madison Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Savannah.
So this is a regional hazard mitigation plan that we have participated in the past. I believe the last one was adopted in 2018. This is a routine FEMA requirement, and each participating jurisdiction has to adopt the resolution for the hazard mitigation plan, and it just keeps the town eligible for FEMA mitigation grants, and it doesn't obligate us to any new spending or anything like that. It's just approval of the plan. And I know Nate Pennington, who is the Buncombe County Planning Director, has been my point of contact through this process, and he's really taken the lead on this with the Madison folks.
Questions of Savannah or comments? I have a motion.
I move to approve the resolution approving the Buncombe Madison Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I have a motion. Commissioner Dasher, do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Commissioner Alexander. Further discussion or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes carry. Opposed? None. Budget amendment number, question mark.
Oops.
That's later.
Let's see if I can scroll through my notes to get there.
Okay.
Bear with me.
I think it's page.
I can't find it, of course. Okay, it's budget amendment number 1, new fiscal year. This is just adding some donations that we previously received these were from the Treasured Tree Project and the Hemlock Projects. We're just moving that money into the budget to permit the tree board to use it as needed.
Okay, any questions of Savannah? Have a motion?
Move approval.
Oh,
Go ahead, Kitty.
I'll move to approve budget amendment number 1.
Second.
Have a motion, Mayor Pro Tem Fouché, have a second by Commissioner Blake. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes carried. Discussion of letter of intent for SRF funding. Savannah.
So you all recall that we are going to be receiving over $4 million in state revolving funds for water infrastructure projects. This letter of intent, we just need to approve it, and that will allow us to continue moving through DEQ's funding requirements. So this is just another administrative step before we actually receive that funding. And I don't know if you had the opportunity to review it, but it just outlines things like, oh shoot, I just lost the word, bidding requirements and things like that.
Have a motion?
I move to approve the resolution to accept the SRF funding.
Motion from Commissioner Grant. Have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Blake. Further discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's quite a significant grant that staff has acquired for Montreat, and it's really going to help the water system in years and years and years to come. Police patrol vehicle policy. Justin Whitson, Chief Justin Whitson.
I'll let you present your own policy.
Okay. I don't have it in front of me, but if you haven't had a chance to review it, instead of just doing strictly a take-home policy, we just did a general blanket vehicle policy, just covering the use, maintenance, all the requirements and stipulations regarding the take-home vehicle policy, and use and cleanliness for our officers is what it's about.
I reviewed the policy. I'm sure the other commissioners did as well, and just wanted to let the public know it's very, very extensive and thorough and well done, and thank you for taking the time to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, any questions of Justin? Chief Whitson, excuse me. Okay, do I have a motion?
I move to approve the Montreat Patrol Vehicle Policy.
I have a motion. Commissioner Alexander, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Mayor Pro Tem Fouché. Further discussion? Questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition, so ayes carry. Consideration of on-call engineering. Savannah?
As part of the SRF fundings, the state revolving funds that I was just speaking about, we are going to need an engineering firm to help us with those projects. Several of the projects that we have listed in our grant application when we receive the funds will require a good deal of engineering. That will all be covered by the grant. We don't have to pay anything additional for the engineers. So we put out a request for proposals. We received responses, and I have them here if anyone is just dying to look through statement of qualifications from engineering firms. Barry and I reviewed those. We narrowed it down to two. We received responses from many firms. We narrowed it down to Withers Ravenel, who is working with us on disaster relief consulting. They're doing our FEMA engineering, and then CDC, Civil Design Concepts, and you all know Jesse Gardner, and have ultimately decided to recommend that we use CDC as our on-call engineering firm. We really enjoy working with Withers Ravenel. We believe that CDC will likely be a little bit more inexpensive. And then also, we know that they have a good deal of familiarity already with our water system. I think both would be excellent, but that's our ultimate recommendation.
Any questions of Savannah? You like those folks, Barry?
Yes,
course, you know, we have a history of working with them. And I've also had the privilege to see some of their other, well, they're working with a couple other communities around us. And I've been able to see some of their plans for SRF funding, some of their infrastructure work, and they are doing some really top-notch work right now. So I really think it would be a good fit. Yes, sir.
Good deal. Do I have a motion, Commissioners?
Move we enter into a contract with CDC per the recommendation of Savannah and
I
Barry.
have a motion from Commissioner Blake. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Alexander. Further discussion or questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Floor is open for public comment.
Letta Jean Taylor, 386 Oklahoma Road. We did have a zoning official building inspector for about 8 years, so that kind of person is out there. And I just wanted to say how wonderful our staff was for the 4th of July works. Even though the town is only responsible for the Montreat Gate at the Montreat Gate, we get a lot of credit for everything that happens here. Sorry, Tanner. And it was great to see Tim on a bike. I thought that was a really good thing for, especially after the parade when we couldn't get moving around. So that may be something in a future budget. I think it's a great idea. But our public works do a great job with the gate, and we just have a great staff. Thank you.
No doubt, Letta Jean. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Commissioners' communication?
I just want to, Wade, I heard your comments during the public hearing, and I want to caution you about your consideration of going a conditional zoning route, because I had a lot to do with drafting that ordinance. And conditional zoning is different from other zoning categories completely. It's what we call an overlay ordinance. And so your property may be R1, but it's R1 with conditional zoning. And the overlay zoning is literally, and the conditional zoning ordinance itself is a unique ordinance built for that property, and it consists of that site plan and the things that are attached to that site plan. And they trump everything else. That's sort of the deal you get with conditional zoning. You get to make changes that you can't do any other way, but you make there's a lot of to and fro in that, and you're stuck with what you negotiate. That's the deal. And so, for example, in when you put in that paved driveway, that was not permitted by the exhibit to your zoning ordinance. So you did not have, and I'm sure you didn't intend it, but you did not have the right to put pavement there because it wasn't on the site plan. And that is the way it is. Now, you may I'm sure, very familiar with all your experience with many other zoning ordinances, but I just want you to caution you that conditional zoning is very, very different, and you may, if you're concerned about the site plan being malleable after the fact, now there's certain minor changes you can make, and I'm not going to get into a discussion here. It's my turn to comment. I couldn't comment earlier when you made your comments, and it was your time to speak. But I want to caution you about conditional zoning, and perhaps you and your council read the ordinance carefully so you don't make a mistake.
Okay, any other commissioner have comments? Seeing none. Dates to remember are Tree Board meets on Tuesday, July 14, 9 o'clock, 11 a.m. in the Town Hall with Zoom options, 9 to 11, excuse me. Planning and Zoning Commission, Thursday, July 16, 2026, 10:30 a.m. to 12 noon, Town Hall, Zoom options. Stonebridge Advisory Committee meeting, Monday, August 3rd, 2026, 9 a.m. in Town Hall. Land Care, Wednesday, August 5, 2026, 9 a.m. Town Hall, Zoom options. Tree Board, Tuesday, August 11, 2026, 9 a.m. to 11, Town Hall with Zoom options. August Town Council meeting, Thursday, August 13, 2026, 6 p.m., Town Hall, public forums at 5:30 p.m. The Board of Adjustment is meeting Thursday, August 27th, 2026, 5 p.m. in the Town Hall with Zoom options. There are no more dates to remember that I have listed. I have a motion to go into closed session, to enter into a closed session.
Before we
Okay.
go into closed session, on dates, do we have a hazardous waste pickup coming up anytime soon? Or is that just fine? Not hazardous, but yeah.
Last Tuesday.
Tuesday.
No, that's not the bulk pickup. We don't have a hazardous waste like paint cans and stuff like
No.
that? Oh,
You can put your paint cans out at the curb, just make sure the paint's dried up with kitty litter,
Okay.
and I'll make sure somebody picks it up.
okay.
Kitty litter will dry it up. Not that I've ever had a cat. Okay. Anyone else? I have a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
I have a motion to enter into closed session in accordance with NCGS General Statutes 143-318.11A3 for discussion of existing litigation. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor,
Opposed?
we have to state the case name
We need,
of the litigation.
I don't have it in front of me.
it's Hayner versus Mountain Retreat Association and the town of Montreat.
Okay. Y'all ready to go? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes carry.